Hello, this is Tim Law with Playing It Forward Coaching and Self-Reliance U. As a solid work ethic, people skills, and going the extra mile is at the core of my program. I'm really pleased to be interviewing a man who definitely checks off all of these boxes. Welcome, Jim Switzenberg, the man who has literally put the John Wright Restaurant up many, many levels since he became the main man there several years ago. Thank you, Jim. Could you kind of share and tell your story, your background, how you ended up over there at John Wright, the things that led you there? That would be great to hear your story.
I'll do a condensed version because they get kind of ridiculous. If I tried to cover 30 some years in 2 minutes, it's not going to work out. But so I'm local. I went to Lancaster Catholic High School. My first job was working at Two Cousins Pizza by the old St. Joe Hospital. Did go to F&M for 2 years, but cooked the whole time, and realized I was a math major at F&M, and realized that wasn't who Jim really was. And so without, let's say, parental authority, I quit F&M, applied to Culinary Institute of America, and was put in a position where my parents wanted to support me, but they didn't support my decision, so I paid for it myself, which was a big thing to do at the age of 21 years old.
Sure.
And I tell you, it made me a better student by a long shot. And I've told other people that, hey, if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what your kids are doing, they don't know what they want, don't pay for college, because it's a waste.
Yes.
The only time it's not a waste is when you have a direction and know where you're going. So I was leaving a career as a math major, went on to Culinary Institute of America. Inevitably, I won national recipe contests and stuff, and my parents helped pay it off, that's for sure. They helped pay the second year and helped pay it off because they realized I made the right decision for me. Graduated school, I went to Houston, Texas, worked at a really cool eclectic restaurant, was actually shopped from there, the 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝙄𝘼 to La Reserve under Tim Keating. Now I'm 22, 23 years old, did my first TV demo for the Discovery Channel under Chef Keating. And he, after being with him for a year, he's like, why are you here in Houston? You belong where the action's happening in LA. So on a whim, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to LA. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, you told me to go to LA, chef. He's like, yeah, well, I didn't think you were going to go this quick. I was like, well, he was like, and he kicked me out of his office all pissed off. The next day, he said, come in here. He says, I'm sorry. This is the right thing for you to do. And he had already made phone calls to 6 people to give me interviews as soon as I was out there.
Wow.
So
Impressive.
he was like, go for it. So I gave him like about a month and a half notice, drove across country, knew some people in San Diego, moved all my stuff into his storage unit, drove up on my motorcycle, did 9 interviews in one day.
Wow.
Got 9 jobs, took 2 of them. So took 2 of them, moved up to LA. I lived in Venice Beach and I started working for Patina and Pinot Bistro. The promises they made didn't work out. I ended up moving over to a place called Twin Palms, which was, when I started working there, was a Kevin Costner-owned restaurant. Post-divorce, it was a Cindy Costner-owned restaurant, but it was a huge, big restaurant in Pasadena. We opened one up in Newport Beach. We did lots of big celebrity dinners, feeding 700-800 people a night.
Wow.
Higher-end food, really nice. I was a sous chef in both Pasadena and Newport Beach. I had about 50 to 60, depending on the time of year, kitchen employees underneath me. So I was a 25-year-old LA hotshot, made way more money than I should at that time of my life. My girlfriend was moving back to New York, Long Island. So I was like, okay, time for me to leave LA. Came back, did a short stop in Lancaster, and then ended up in New York City. Ended up landing at a place called Time Cafe in the East Village. That was at the time, it closed down after 9/11, but one of the busiest restaurants in New York City. Really cool, high volume, And once again, the list of celebrities I was cooking for on a weekly basis was really fun.
Yeah. Well,
And
I'll just jump in for just a minute here, Jim. Loving the story, loving the direction. The point is, it looks like you really, between your work ethic and your ability to take action and everything, the number of accelerated experiences that you got was just incredible. And when you really talked earlier about your parents, as far as not, necessarily financing certain things, certainly in the beginning, there's a great saying is that maturity finally comes when you realize nobody's coming to your rescue. And obviously you realize that at a relatively young age, and basically sucked it up. And I'm just so impressed with all these experiences that you're sharing here. I mean, it's like taking a sip out of a fire hose as far as your learning curve,
Well, and Tim Keating in Houston was a big one. He was a huge mentor for me, but he gave me one thing. After he told me to go to LA and I told him I quit and he found me the jobs, he says, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. He's like, you're good at this. You have knowledge more than anyone your age, and don't settle. I was like, what do you mean? He said, don't settle. Don't stay in a job until you are the owner or the executive chef. He says, I don't want you in any job more than 2 years. I was like, that's not a very long time. He said, you stay a minimum of 1 year and give yourself up to a year to get underneath somebody else. He says, I want you to keep learning until you're teaching. And I trusted him and I did it that way. And it was until really I owned my first business that I stayed anywhere longer than about 2 years. And so Time Cafe in Manhattan, I opened up I read Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Great book, great book. He's incredible.
So 6 months later, I owned my own restaurant. So that was a quick, I read the book in 2 days, and 2 weeks later, I was quitting my job to figure out how to start my own restaurant. So I jumped right into entrepreneur from the advice of Robert Kiyosaki in a matter of minutes. And I opened up a little Mexican taqueria. I was almost 2 years to the day into it. And it was changing from kind of red to green. I had made that 2-year shift in restaurants. I can pay my bills. I can make this work. And then 9/11 happened, and I was commuter traffic from New York City. So all the businesses got destroyed. I finished that chapter of my life with a personal and a business bankruptcy and an additional about $50,000 in debt. And the restaurant I financed myself. So I put all my money and some friends' money together, got a small loan, and business ownership 101, you might lose everything once or twice. And Hershey did it 12 times, I only did it once. And so time to reboot. My brother needed help. I went down to Texas again and was at Texas Tech, ran their athletic department. Probably bigger than you could imagine of a job. I was in charge of all the varsity athletes, feeding them, the training table, Jones Stadium, United Spirit Arena. So for a football day, I'm feeding 70 to 90,000 people. On a basketball day, it was 22,000 people. Some of it on the high end side of it, a lot of little parties for suites and club level. It was honestly tremendous. I know on the busy end of football season weekend, there were times where we'd feed about 160,000 people in 3 days.
That's incredible.
And I was executive chef in charge of that, and truly like getting tractor trailer loads full of food that need to be processed to feed people. It was it was an awesome job. I didn't like my boss, and my brother got remarried, so I didn't have to help him anymore. Came back up to York County and I started teaching at Yorktown Business Institute, and did that for a little bit. Catering opportunity came my way. Somebody wanted to talk to me about a business, had nothing to do with restaurants. And he said, wait, but you know restaurants. He says, I like your insight with business, but what could you do with this space? And I was like, well, it was Taste Catering in Millersville. I'm like, I know how to run catering. Just finished Texas Tech. He
Yeah.
couldn't give me anything too big that I couldn't run it out of this kitchen. So I did a business partner with a gentleman, and we went in and did Taste Catering. We took it from a business that did 147,000 the year we bought it to 1 year later doing 1.3 million. The year after that, it was 1.8 million. So
Wow.
a little touch of growth there.
A little bit of growth, yes. Yeah.
And
Well,
then
it wasn't incremental either, Jim. That was, cataclysmic. that's for
exponential.
sure.
Yeah, so we did 10 times the volume, and we showed them how in catering and banquets to throw money to the bottom line. Did really well. What I didn't do well, which I was chastised for and still am to this day, is involve smart counsel.
Mhm.
So Taste Catering taught me one thing. I know food, but I don't know everything. And I have a lawyer friend. He's worked in government. He's been all over the place. He's very successful. And I made a promise and an oath to him that I would never sign any piece of paper without him reading it first.
Mhm.
And then the other thing I learned was partnership isn't always a great thing. Great partnership is great. Bad partnership can kill a business. And that's why I walked out of Taste Catering. I tell you, Tim, if you wonder if I walked out with integrity, I booked a lot of these parties.
Mhm.
I stayed on. I gave him a 2-week notice, and 6 months and 2 weeks I left because all the weddings I booked, I wanted to make sure I took care of those brides.
Mhm.
So I
Huge.
did it right,
Yeah. Yeah.
walked away. Then I started teaching at Hack. I ran their program. I wrote their program. I got it ACF accredited. I love teaching. And there I had something I called the golden handcuffs, which was a tenure and pension. So Pennsylvania state pension and tenure. So I was 5 years in, and 15 years I could retire, pretty happy salary. And I betted on this place. So I came in as a consultant. They called me in and said, Jim, can you look at what's going on and see what you can fix? And I was consulting on the side a lot while I was at Hack. And this one was, I'd say, shocking to me. Normally, I present these things, these kind of outline, where I would do a page overview, a little bit of paragraph of how I think their business is doing, and then a highlight of the points that need to be addressed, and then a little bit of paragraph of a solution to each one of these points. Your average restaurant might have 8, might have 15. There was 53 here.
Mhm.
And so 53 detrimental things to the success of this business.
Wow.
And who in their right mind, knowing that there was 53 major problems here to start, before they would tell me what their finances look like, because they were afraid to show me the books, that I agreed to come in, run the place as long as I could partner in with them in this place and turn it around and make it profitable. And I wanted a full 25%, or I couldn't leave the golden handcuffs.
Right. Right.
So, and nothing was all signed in paperwork and nothing was finalized, but it was on a handshake with a friend, being the Manns, that I grew up in their kitchen. So I've known them since, I was 5 years old, which is more than a couple years ago.
Yeah. How many years, Jim? How many years, Jim, have you been there at John Wright now?
This is, I guess, May will start year 12.
Okay.
Full time.
Okay. Yeah, because we've known
So
each
we
other,
just-
pretty close to that amount of time.
I was going to say is at least 9 of those 11 years, you've been a regular here.
Sure, sure. Well, we keep coming back because the food is incredibly good, Jim. And your staff, and you yourself, of course. And you guys put out a great experience. And I learned years ago that nobody sells a good service or product or selling a feeling, state, or mood. and that quality of service and attention that you guys give is, I mean, it's like second to none. We love coming over there.
The management style here is different than restaurants. Everybody's seen the Gordon Ramsay stuff and screaming and yelling, and I can't watch those TV shows. They annoy me.
Yeah.
What I learned early on was being the angry loud guy doesn't benefit anyone other than potentially my ego. And it's not needed. Who's the most important person in a restaurant? The honest answer is probably the dishwasher. Because if you don't have a good dishwasher, you don't have anything to cook anything in. And the chef, really, his job is to give them the tools to do their job. He has two real jobs, supply and training. And I did that for the first few years. I don't know. I think when you came in, I wasn't general manager still, but I might have been. There was a time where I was walking around in either a dress shirt or a tie.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
And then I'm probably not the best person to have in front of people all the time. So it's I like to be in the back, but I hired eventually a series of better. And Carrie now is the best.
Oh yeah. She's Carrie. We just look forward to seeing her every time we come over. You got a rock star with her, Jim.
Yeah. Smiling face.
Yep.
I tell you, one of the smartest things I did with her and my chef now, Casey, both tremendous, both dedicated, both of them can't afford to ever leave here. And I'm sure of it. And I made sure of it. I tied them to the business. I gave them a contract. They're 3 or 4 years into a 5-year contract where afterwards they'll already be paid as good as anybody in this area, but then they will get profit sharing and the percentage goes up every year.
Wow.
So they're set up. I set them up to set me up for success. Treat them right. Don't ever yell at anybody publicly. Treat them like they are the people that are paying your bills and making your money, because if it's not for them, I don't have anything.
Sure.
Right now, I have 25 full-time people that I need every single one of them every day. Monday, we had our staff party. We have 2 a year. The staff party at Christmas time, I bartend. So I can show them their importance. I want to serve them. And a lot of people don't treat their people, and really service industry, particularly restaurants. These are the people that get treated the worst, but these are the people that if you treat them with respect, they are going to show that to a dedicated client like yourself. And you see the same, think about it. In 9 years, you've seen some of the same servers that entire time.
Yes, very true. Very true.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Restaurant turnover annually is somewhere between 200% and 300%.
So not at your place.
No. Yeah. For a while, but there was about a 3-year period where, other than hiring seasonal employees, I had 0% turnover.
Wow. That's incredible.
We've learned it hiring better. When I got my chef Casey and he needed his team. And the other thing I learned is when you get the right managers, you do not micromanage them. Coach them, because I don't want their strength to be taken away from them. All the time. I bet you 3 or 4 times a month, Casey will be in the kitchen. Somebody will come up and ask me a question that they should have asked him. And I'll say, Mike, you're fired again. He's like, who's asking you questions? And I was like, Don wants me to fire you. He doesn't think you can do your job and he has to come to me. Come on, Don, and it's all joking. But the idea is I'm empowering, my bar manager, my general manager, my banquet manager, my chef. I'm empowering them to, in their own way, run their own operations. They come to me and ask a question.
Yeah.
If there's something that I don't disagree with, I'll coach them on it. But no, don't. It may be my ship and I may be at the helm, but without all the working parts working independently on their own, they don't work together.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I've really been able to set up these, honestly, masters of at their job, and uniquely,
Yeah.
like my bar manager, Kevin, same thing. He makes a lot of money here,
Uh-huh.
which is great. I'm so proud of that. I haven't given myself a raise. In that 11 years, I paid for my insurance, but my salary hasn't changed in 11 years.
Wow.
But
Wow.
I've made sure there's nobody that works here a year that doesn't get a raise.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's interesting. It's
every year
interesting,
in
Jim,
May,
because we both think a lot similar, because obviously running a restaurant is a team event, and I'm a longtime coach and everything. And there's four keys to every four key dynamics or principles with any good coaching and leadership, and you're hitting them all. And first of all, and most importantly, is the rapport, what you have with with the kids that I coach, or the people that you're managing. And then, not any particular order, what you know as a person running John Wright, how well you transfer what you know to your people, empowering them, and how you hold or glue that team together, with good solid communication. And you're hitting every one of the key 4 points that I think puts together a good team. And there's two key cancers to any team, and they are selfishness and laziness. And I've never seen that out of your group over there. You guys the quality is always up every time we're there. It's fantastic.
well, and there's a hardcore love and camaraderie in this place, and you've felt it and seen it.
Mhm.
And really, my business partners, the recent shutdown, right? The government shut us down. We should have gone to no dining inside.
Mhm.
I have 3 business partners that are in their 70s. We had to sit down and talked about this. And they were so amazingly supportive of this staff. Some of them have been here more than 10 years. Most of them have been here more than 5 years.
Mhm.
They have showed dedication to us, whether it was slow, busy, they didn't feel like coming to work, anything. They fought for us for
Right.
that long. There's no way we can't fight for them.
Mhm.
And there's no way we can put a single mother with 2 kids without income, hopefully to get unemployment right before Christmas.
Mhm.
There was a lot of teary eyes in that partners meeting of, we have to do the right thing. And the right thing might not be what some people think is. Like I had somebody on Facebook send me an FU today. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
what did we possibly do? And it was because we went against the governor's order. So I lost that client for life. I'm sure she will never be back in this building. But my 24 families, or actually 25 families that stayed in income over the holidays, they're never going to leave here, because
Right,
they know
right.
we sacrifice. As a business, we probably would have financially done just as well doing takeout and putting everybody on unemployment, and we knew it. Actually, my accountant and I sat down and we worked out the numbers, and we're like, look, if we do everything perfect, we'll probably break even,
Mhm.
because we took away our liquor. I was like,
Right.
but if we don't, there's at least 20 families that go on unemployment right before Christmas.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were like, no, we will not do that. So I'm proud of my partners for just
Yeah.
being strong about no way.
Yeah, you guys stepped up for people. There's no question about that, Jim. It's not those are not easy decisions. This has been a tough time. 2020 was just incredibly difficult, without a doubt. That's for sure. Well, Jim, let me just see if is there any other last minute things that you wanted to say, because I want to make sure we give the your the phone number out and everything for John Wright. Any last thoughts that you have?
No, I like what you do. I like the fact that you didn't coach me on what to say, but you already knew what my answers were. You know what I mean? It's like, well, here's what I coach, and here's what you do, and that's why I wanted to talk to you. Very good. Well played, Mr. Law.
Well, thank you, Mr. Jim. I appreciate it. So if you could give what's the best number for people that want to come to your restaurant to call in. And I mean, I got it memorized, but I'll let you deliver that.
Perfect. I'll do my quick John Wright plug is we're in Wrightsville on the water between the two bridges. Beautiful location. Phone number reservations are always recommended. 717-252-0416. Definitely could check us out on our website, which is JWRPA. Has menus and a lot of information. Talks about our air purifier, everything else. And we post on Facebook several times a week about upcoming events. We always have a lot of stuff going on down here.
Great, great. Well, thank you so much, Jim. It's been a pleasure, and we will absolutely stay in touch. And you'll be seeing us coming down to your place frequently. And you know, we just love you and your staff. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. And certainly 2020 was very challenging for everybody. And certainly I can't think of a group that had a more difficult run or ride than the restaurant industry. It's been very, very difficult for them, and you guys are to be applauded. That's for sure.
I tell you, I actually have one of the administrative people that's putting together somewhat of an outline for a manuscript, because this year for this restaurant was about team.
Mm-hmm.
And I have about 5 or 6 key players that we met every week, and it was reinvent a restaurant every week. How are we going to make this work? And the dedication of these people in this building honestly deserve to have a book written about them.
Yeah, well, and the idea that the entrepreneurial spirit, the genius of the individual American people, always has the ability to overcome, almost any obstacles that are thrown at them. That's for sure.
Yeah. So. And well, we persevered.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Jim. This has been wonderful. We'll definitely stay in touch, and this will be up on my site, my YouTube site, Playing It Forward Coaching. Hopefully I can get it up this evening. And if not, I'll definitely have it up by tomorrow, and I'll let you know that it's there, my man.
Yeah, let me know. I'll put it on my Facebook.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, that's what we want to do. We want to just, and then, we just had on your Facebook, the only favor I ask is just ask people to subscribe to the Playing It Forward Coaching. There's no cost, no obligation. I'm just trying to, impact as many people as possible, especially teens and young adults, from the standpoint of, a good work ethic, the good people skills, going above and beyond, which you and your staff always do. And it's very much noticed. That's for sure.
Well, I like it. Make a better America.
Yes, sir. Okay, Jim. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.